after months of the Trump campaign claiming that there was voter fraud, we finally have some evidence that what they were saying is kind of somewhat true. Not in the context that they've been saying, but certainly in Medina County, Texas, where the Justice of Peace, Tomas Ramirez, has been arrested and is facing voter fraud related charges. Now, to be clear, Ramirez is a Republican, and he's facing 1 count of organized election fraud, 1 count of assisting voting ballot by mail, and 17 counts of unlawful possession of a ballot or ballot envelope. So the thing that's frustrating about this story is that we don't know specific details about what he and the 3 others who got arrested along with him have done. So let me tell you the other arrests and then we can discuss. And again, these are Republicans. So any voter fraud related charges they're facing have to do with them trying to help Republican candidates fraudulently. So we have Leonor Rivas Garza, who's also facing 1 charge of organized election fraud, 2 counts of illegal voting, 8 counts of unlawful possession of a ballot or ballot envelope, 2 counts of election fraud, and 4 counts of fraudulent use of an absentee ballot by mail. Eva Ann Martinez is another person who got arrested, facing 1 count of organized election fraud, 9 counts of illegal voting, 28 counts of unlawful possession of ballot or ballot envelope, 3 counts of purportedly acting as an agent, 5 counts of tampering with government record, 14 counts of election fraud, and 4 counts of fraudulent mail ballot application. And I'm gonna take a little break from reading more and more of these charges. There is one other person named Mary Balderrama who's also facing similar election fraud charges. And what's amazing to me is that the system seems to work pretty damn well. This is related to elections in 2018, not 2020. And voter fraud, as we know from the statistics, as we know from the studies, is very rare. And when it does happen, people tend to get caught, as is the case in Texas. It's just that oftentimes there are Republicans trying to help other Republicans win in these elections through fraud.
I love how if this were the shoe on the other foot, if these were Democrats, this would be Tucker Carlson's lead story. It would be the entire night on Fox News. It'd be the week on Fox News. It'd be the morning, noon, night. It would be round the clock coverage of these 3 people and like where they went to high school, friends of theirs. Like, meanwhile, most media outlets except for TYT are gonna really cover this. This is one of those stories kind of like flies under the radar, and it's like, oh, there it goes. Oh well, guess we won't get the narrative upper hand like we always should when it comes to proving that Republicans, of course. I mean, Texas is at threat of going blue. I mean, they're all shook. They're scared. There's going to be a sea change in that state, and so it makes sense that it's in Texas. But man, they were busy. Martinez, like 28 counts, that's a lot of counts. I wonder what happened. That's a lot of counts. Yeah.
What's also amazing is like how protected they are, because I have no doubt in my mind that had this been a Democratic effort to commit voter fraud, we would know the details of what they did exactly. All we know from local reporting, by the way, I've only seen this in local reports, is that these people have been charged. The Medina County, Texas Justice of Peace, Tomas Ramirez, has been arrested. And we did get a little bit of information from the Bandera County Sheriff's Office that said each defendant was released on bond. The Office of the Attorney General's website states that the office has successfully prosecuted 531 counts of voter fraud since 2004. It looks like the system's working, guys, with 97 of them from 2018 alone. Currently, 234 election fraud investigations are still active. And what's interesting is what we're seeing by state legislatures in these states, including, by the way, more recently, Georgia, is this effort to pass restrictive voting laws to prevent people of color from voting, to prevent elderly people from voting. Oh, wow, what a shocker. To prevent students from voting, people who typically vote for the Democratic Party. That's what they're targeting, as opposed to, actually doing something about election integrity as Democrats have proposed, which is make sure that we have paper ballots, make sure that voting machines aren't connected to the internet so votes won't be changed. Like, those are actual election integrity matters that we should be concerned with. Republicans just want to prevent people from voting. That's where their energy is focused.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. It's like we're obviously focusing on this story. I'm glad we're doing this story because it's a few counts of voter fraud. So, and it happens to be Republicans. Let's talk about it. But exactly, the real story about voting in this country is all the suppression, is the gerrymandering. That was 2018. So you're looking at, voting for Congress and all that. And this is the thing we have to keep being vigilant about. It's so painful to me that there are so many organizations that folks like Stacey Abrams have to do the incredible backbreaking amount of work to just monitor polls, to make sure there is actual election and voter integrity. And that it's now like an industry, essentially. It's like a nonprofit industry to be like, get out the vote. Also, hey, protect the vote. These are basic things that our government should be doing. But again, I mean, man, talking about patchwork responses to everything, just the way that we run our elections is also so incredibly patchwork, so incredibly county by county, very unreliable. And it's just kind of like, well, it's up to the hope you don't get gerrymandered and or can find your Dropbox and or can vote between the hours of 2 and 3 or whatever, the new hours are. It's insane.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.